Hey guys, so we're back. We're going to be working on the second part of our build now. This is the whole bee box that we want to produce when we're done, and it'll have a working hinge. And we can take a look at that real quick. You can see there that we have our working hinge. We have a sliding partition. So this is really what we want to be able to build with our bee box. On the first video, we made a basic bee box frame. We had a sketch that we started with, so we'll go back and take a quick peek at that. So there's our sketch. We basically made a square inside another square. We then extruded that to make this shape. We extruded it again to make the partition. And then we made a third extrusion to put in places for the screws to fasten. And without those, the hinges won't work nicely. So our next step is to, in fact, make the hinges. So let's get started on that. To do that, we're going to start with a sketch. We're going to pick the front plane, and we're going to go ahead and make a center rectangle. And we can set our double center click on that. We'll make it 0.125, an eighth of an inch thick, and we'll make it an inch long. And then we're going to put a circle out here. Left click and double center click. We'll make that 0.25, quarter inch, and that looks pretty good. And then inside that, we're going to put a second. Well, we'll slide this over for now. That looks pretty good like that. And what we're going to do is make a second circle in here using the first one. Left click and then double center click. Which make that 0.125, eighth of an inch. You know, this looks okay. Oh, that's the wrong dimension. That is not what I thought it was. I wanted this inside dimension to be that. So let's go ahead and left, middle. Nope. Well, for right now, we're going to leave that be. We're going to get rid of this section right there. And that was more than we wanted to get rid of. Oops. Let's zoom right in and delete that section there. Okay, click OK. See if we get a. Oh, that didn't work the way we thought it would. The way I thought it would, rather. Let's go back and edit it. Let's grab this circle. Oops. Okay. So let's Control Z. So we can put everything back the way it was. And we did not. So this happens, you know. It's okay. Go back in and we'll edit that real quick. Sometimes it's easier just to, faster, just start again from the beginning. I'm going to put OK. I'm going to delete that sketch and create a new one. So let's see here, there we go. Center rectangle. Double center click. Eighth of an inch. 1 inch. Grab our circle. Grab a second circle. Let's see here. We've got the outside circle is a ½ inch. That's probably too big. So let's make that a 1/4 inch. Let's make the inside circle 1/8 inch. That should be okay. We'll just make some notes of a 1/4 inch for our outside edge and an 1/8 inch for our inside edge. That seems pretty good. Now what we can do is we can grab our shape. Hopefully we can drag the whole thing. It's holding these relationships together. We want to set that to delete. Let's see here. Let's grab our 1-to-1. See if we can't just move our rectangle. So that was 0.25, and this let's set to 0.1. Just bring it a little bit closer. See if we like how that looks. That looks okay. That looks like it should do the trick. And we want to delete this segment and that segment. Let's see here. Delete that segment. That segment. Delete that segment. That looks okay. Take a look down here. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. And if we're good to go, the whole shape will fill in like that, which it did. Okay, we're good to go. Hey, you know, it often doesn't work out in the first time. You got to be persistent, and that's okay. So here we go. We're going to click OK. And we have a shape that looks kind of like a key maybe. Let's extrude it and it'll look more like a hinge. We're going to make that about 2 inches. And maybe you can see this starting to look like a hinge. And at this point, we know we're going to make 2 pieces that look an awful lot like this. So this one is called hinge P1. And we're going to save it as, so we're going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to make a copy. Save As, save a copy. And I'm just going to copy it, paste it as P2. And click OK. So now I've got part 1 open, and what I'm going to do in part 1 is I'm going to just take a slice out of the middle of it. So I'm going to select, and this took me a little while to figure out, so I'm going to select Extrude. I'm going to click on that plane, and that's perfectly okay. I know it looks a little funny to get started. I'm going to put in a center line here, and it might not be exactly in the center where I think it is, so I'm going to go ahead and take a measurement. Left, left, then center click. And I expect that to be 1 inch because the whole hinge is 2 inches long. Then I'm going to grab a center rectangle and I'm going to come out from that point. And what I want is this center rectangle to be big enough to take a slice out of that. And you'll see in a second that it's going to end up looking a lot like a hinge. So I want the whole distance to be about 1 inch. And I want it to be about 1/4 inch of a cut. And I need to slide this over just a little bit. That looks pretty good. I'll make it just a little bit bigger than that. Within these design tolerances, this will work. So I'm going to click OK. And I've put a giant rectangle in what we want to make a hinge. And that's okay. So I'm going to go back and click on both directions and remove material. And now we'll see, oh, hey, that's starting to look a whole lot like a hinge. So that looks great. We're going to accept it. And you could probably guess at this point that when I go to hinge part 2, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I'm going to save this first. And I'm going to open up hinge part 2. So let's see if we can't find it. Hinge part 2. And in hinge part 2, I'm going to select extrude, select that face. Looks great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this part and this part to come out so that there's a part that can fit into the other one. So I'm going to go ahead again and find the center line, and I don't know exactly where it is, so I'm going to go ahead and take another measurement, left click, middle click. I want it to be an inch, and that's resizing it. So that's good. And I know I'm going to put my stuff up here, so I'm going to do another one. I'm going to put another center line up over here, and I'm going to go ahead and measure that from left, middle, and I want this one to be 0.5 inches right in the middle. And so I know I want to go out to about that far. And there's a lot of different ways I could do this. Probably the easiest way to do it is with a corner rectangle. So I'm going to go grab a corner, and I'm going to put it right through. That looks pretty great. Double click on it to get its dimensions. Let's see here, what do we got? We got 0.37, we can live with that, and it's a 1/2 inch long. That looks great. So I know I want to make 2 of these cuts. So now that I've got this highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and click mirror. I'm going to click the center line, and now I can cut out both of those at once. And what that means is that's going to give me a piece here that can fit into my other piece. But you might be wondering, is this middle part here being an inch, is that maybe too thick? And there's a good chance that it is. So what I'd like to do here is go ahead and make that just a little bit bigger. And what that means is that the amount of material here that's left is a little bit less than an inch. So they should fit together better. They'd wobble a little bit in real life, but it's okay for what we're doing. So we're going to click OK. I'm going to remove the material. I'm going to go right through the middle, and look, there we go. That's our piece. That looks pretty perfect. Click OK. I'm going to save this piece just before I forget in case anything else happens. And now really what we need is to be able to check that they will fit together with one another. And for that we need a cylinder to go through the middle. So we're going to make our final piece. So I'm going to go to New, Hinge, H-I-N-G-E, P3. And it's just going to be a cylinder. This is going to be super quick. Go to Sketch, Front Plane, click Sketch. I'm going to go ahead and grab a center point circle. Left click, right click, center click. And we know we want this to be 1/8 of an inch, so 0.125. Zoom again. It didn't disappear. It's fine. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to extrude it. I'm going to make it 2 inches. And we can take a look at that. That is going to be the cylinder that holds the whole hinge together. So at this point we have 3 hinge pieces. We have a male part, a female part, if you will, and a cylinder to hold them all together. So the next video is going to show you how to make an assembly of these hinge pieces so that we can then use it to assemble the whole bee box.